student independence, basic needs access, being away from home, right? We have students, it sounds like from San Diego, Oceanside, right? LA, San Diego, Sacramento, and I like to tell this story that one time I landed in LAX, I got in at 11:30 at night, and I came out to my car and I had a totally flat tire. And in LA, folks, I was able, at like, now it's 12 p.m. at night, I was able to get a new tire, a hot dog, and a phone charger, all in the same place, right? That's LA. That's our shutting things down a little earlier, right? Things are really getting quiet around 9 o'clock. I'm not going to get a new tire at 11:30 p.m. So talking to your students about some of the things that they might be used to having, they might have access to cultural foods in larger markets that they don't have here. So talking to your student before that, figuring out a plan, seeing what's available in the area. We live in a great place, people vacation here, we have the beach, we have hiking, mountains, it's gorgeous. But there's some other things that your student might be used to having that you're not going to find here. All right. So, moving on. You see that fancy helicopter? Yeah, me and Stanley have master's degrees, so you got a helicopter in there. And the reason I just showed this slide is because there's a stigma about helicopter parents. And I don't need you to raise your hand if you think you are one, or a helicopter partner, for example. But we here at Parent Family Programs, we're used to all different types of parenting styles. I talk to self-proclaimed helicopter parents all day long. Sit on the phone with parents, right? Because for an hour or so, because we care about the same thing, right? We care about student success. And so even if you think you are a helicopter parent, we're telling you here, we want you to help your student help themselves, right? We want you to land with us. When you have questions like that, when we're running into challenges, we're running into barriers, and you don't know if you're being, reaching a little too far, contact us, send an owl, send an email, call us on the phone. We're happy to talk to you, we're happy to point you in the right direction, okay?
All right, so we give a lot of challenges, and we want to have a very strong approach. The first one is securing an on-campus job or thousands of student employees every single year, and it's a great way for students to learn leadership experience and also be able to have that understanding from the campus departments that, like, hey, they are also a student as well, and so if they need time off to work on a project, that is expected, right? And you may not get that from being on campus, you still have the responsibility of showing up on time, being professional, learning those skills. The second one is joining a study group or academic organization. As I mentioned, chemistry was very hard, and Cal Poly is a very hard and rigorous institution, and there's many other harder classes that I never even touched. And you're maybe taking some of those classes, and they have opportunities for them to join study groups or one-unit workshop classes where they can get the support they need in order to succeed in the classes. And lastly, joining a club. Cal Poly has over 400 different clubs, and we're not asking your students to join all 400 of them, but during Club Showcase, choosing maybe 5 or 6 clubs that they're interested in, joining their email list, going to 1 or 2 first club meetings, and then choosing 1 or 2 to stick throughout the whole year, and then adding more as they feel they have capacity to add on.
All right, so we're rooting for them and you're growing with us. And one of the ways that we want you to grow with us is to make sure that you know how to reach us and you receive communications.
All right, so if you have fallen asleep, this is now the time to wake up.
California's syndrome comes. Now I know what you're thinking. Life coach, life thing figured out. Of course you do. But life in San Luis Obispo is a whole here.
We drove right.
It's slow. Pressure. Less hustle and more bustle around being shells. Busy afternoon lunches. No laundry folding. No lawn mowing. And definitely no cooking. Thank you. Everyone's invited to live the slow life, and I'm here to help you. You would like a look? Can I take that break? To help you slow.
Mhm.
right here on the Central Coast. Which brings us back to, hello, your first select it. Always say hi. Hi there. So, however, you like to say it because schools and cities without strings, just friends you haven't met yet. It's all sunshine and waffles.
I wouldn't know that's my favorite word.
I'm full of slow life
Boy, more than that.
and just regular, living your best life tips. So stay tuned. This is your slow life coach. Signing off.
You can be a coach all the way. Get it. The terrorists are talking in my head. They're just American Muslims and stupid families.
By a show of hands, how many of there are residents? In San Luis Obispo. And slowly say the Thursday, the weekend starts on Thursday because of farmers market. And we were recently named in the top 10 by USA 10 Best as one of the best in the country. And we are one of the oldest and largest farmers markets on the West Coast. Speaking of food, we have a great culinary and viticulture scene here. Wining and dining in San Luis Obispo is really a great experience for a community of our size, less than 50,000. Expo itself, over 2,500 rooms and a real big range of options. So whether you like small bed and breakfasts, you know, are a Marriott or Hilton member and you want to stay in one of those properties and use your points, we've got those. We have a handful of hotels right in the heart of downtown, so you want to be in the mix of it all and step right outside your doors and not bring your car, but be within everything. Or you prefer, you know, more of that wine country charm. We really have something for everyone. So for those of you who will be coming into town and staying in a hotel, our suggestion to you is to really try out a few at first, see what feels like home. This is going to be your home base away from home while you are visiting your student at Cal Poly. And, you know, we want you to feel comfortable. You'll likely be spending a lot of time here. And all of our properties are ready to welcome you. They'll get to know your preferences. You can call ahead and let them know, you know, to make you reservations or, you know, suggestions for what you need, all of that, like how you like your room set up. So truly test a few out, find the one that feels like home, and book early when you do. There are some impacted weekends throughout the year, and as you know, they're changing a little bit this next year with Cal Poly going to semesters. But we have move-in week gets very busy, family weekend, open house in the spring. We even say if you know when your student might graduate, it's never too soon to book your hotel. And that is because, like I said, we have about 2,500 rooms within the city itself. This last graduation, we had over 55,000 people come to the area. So we obviously cannot accommodate within the city of SLO all of those folks, not even within the whole county, so book early. If you don't book early and you don't like to heed my advice, don't worry, we can help you. So we have a lot of great resources at your fingertips. This brochure, of course. Our website is slow.com. That has a plethora of information, things to do, all of our properties and hotels listed. You can search and filter by what you're looking for, whether that be on-site restaurants, you know, meeting space, good for families, any of that. We also have this great little chat feature in the bottom right corner, you can see with the arrow. So our team over at the Visitor Center monitors that chat during business hours, and you can pop in there and ask any questions, whether it be something you found on the website you want more information on, or you just, you know, want some advice on anything about the community. Pop in there and they'll get back to you during business hours.
Stay quiet.
We
They
also
couldn't
have
stay
our physical
quiet.
visitor center, which is on the corner
They
of
had to
Monroe
say
and
something
Monterey,
in my
downtown,
head
just a block up from the
in
Mission.
25 minutes.
They
not this current, like hall. Like it'd be a different hall, we're gonna have our student guides, might usher you there, so listen to this guys and where to go.
From the first part of the orientation, and while the orientation was going on, in the span of 30 minutes, the terrorist talking in my head could not, for whatever reason. Well, I mean, I know the reason at this point. The weapon time's out. I have nothing. There's nothing on me. I mean, I'm innocent, obviously. But in the course of that 30 minutes, I think the terrorists started saying like crazy, weird, psychotic shit. Maybe 3-4 times. One of them said, "I'm so glad we hurt you," in the middle of nobody heard them, obviously, they're talking in my head. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists, and they keep saying, "I'm so glad we're hurting you, fuck you," and they're screaming in my head. Because if they don't go turn themselves in at this point, they're going to get investigated, and that's like probably worse than death, honest to God. These psychos will turn into torsos. And I think the men would opt in for the, whatever it's called, euthanasia, death penalty, over being investigated by this weapon, if I can really push them in that corner. They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists and their psychotic families, dude. They're talking in my head. They're serial killers. It's not a fucking joke. I wish I was joking, dude. I wish this was a fucking joke. This is a complete fucking nightmare. My kids, people's, just not just mine. Anyone and everyone is potentially, like, all these people that are here. The terrorists talking in my head could say any one of them was responsible for what they're actually saying in my head if it wasn't live streaming, because I don't think there were cameras in the auditorium. So any one of these people could have been a victim to these psychopaths' crimes. It's just, that's why it was a joke that, who was it, Dave Chappelle? Somebody said, like, how does somebody have a knife and stab somebody, like stab like 100 people, or whatever he said. Like, the guy, like, how did he get to that many people? And now I understand it's this weapon of mass destruction that these psychopath terrorists have hold of, okay? And there's nothing, the U.S. government knows, obviously, that they're psychopaths and want to sentence them to death. But I don't know why they can't take them down. It's been fucking 8 years. So I'm assuming they don't have enough evidence, and the entire organization is made up of quote-unquote Muslims, so they want to hide behind Islam, so that they could stir up this, like, narrative, like, war between all these countries, and divide them. And I have a feeling that's what it's really about, being that Islam is, they're equally divided, like the entire globe is equally divided among Christians, Muslims, and Jews. That's a major issue to have, right? I would assume. I think that's kind of how he's laughing because when I discussed it, I watered it down to basically how stupid this actually sounds. But this is what it's. I mean, he's laughing because I think I actually just spoke the truth. But um, I honestly, I think they laugh because they want to make it sound more complicated than it actually is. But bottom line, I think that's the fact. And it's just that simple. And anyways, what was I saying? So I don't know what it is. Like I said, I said it's about them possibly trying to make it sound like it's a Muslim thing when it's not, and maybe I don't know. I don't know how. To me it's beyond my comprehension. How in the fuck? Okay, the United States can't take these terrorists down. Like it actually is behind. It's beyond my ability to comprehend because here I am live streaming realizing that these bitches are trying to make their voices sound like they're outside, and literally they want to manipulate your entire perception of reality. They want to hold you in. They don't want you focused on the faces around you. They don't want you focused on anything that can ID the anybody around you. They don't want you, paying attention to license plate. And you don't even realize like that you have your eyes focused on license plates when you're driving until someone deliberately pulls your eyeballs away from the vehicles in front of you so that you don't take a glimpse of something that subconsciously would be, you're doing it and not even realizing it, and it gets stored on these records that are produced with the telepathy weapon, right? You don't fucking realize, like, wow, I'm taking in so much fucking information. I didn't realize my brain works at this capacity and this fucking quickly. And then to think there's a weapon that literally is probably nanoseconds slower than your mind, that's pretty fucking insane. I don't know, honestly, it could be faster. It just depends. I mean, I would assume it's faster. It's faster because it's taking the information literally at the speed of light and recording it onto it's recording and storing the information as it's coming in live. It's fucking crazy, and it's obvious. The terrorists talking in my head are so fucking obvious, dude. So it's beyond me how the fuck the government doesn't have how they haven't sentenced them to fucking death yet. I don't know, maybe they needed more access to have initially they didn't have the corporations, that 1% that we keep calling the 1%, they needed to basically employ or have a reason to surveil literally every human being that's on the face of this planet or gets born onto this globe, okay, for them to surveil. Maybe they had to figure out how to do that so that they could keep eyes on everyone that's considered called a suspect to these terrorists talking in my head. Keep an eye on the victims of these terrorist crimes, which isn't apparent yet. I don't know. So they're playing with my head. They don't want me explaining. They want me sounding stupid. So, like I said, there's a lot to it. They can literally they're playing with my head. They can literally play with the weapon and manipulate the records by manipulating their victims' reality. Okay? And so I don't know if the government on top, because people don't know to live stream all day long, victims of their crimes don't know to live stream all the time, and being that they don't have full documented evidence of these terrorist crimes and whatever. They don't want to just bring it out public that, hey, these are psychopaths among us that are using a war weapon that's a mind, like, and just stir up this frenzy, okay, that could potentially end the entire human existence. And it, I mean, based on their experience with these psychopath terrorists, as soon as they saw how much money they could make, flip their fucking lids, or chopping people's heads up, and like Jaime Usuna or whatever, that psychopath, that, or what we look at as a psychopath, ate someone's like organs, like he put it in a sandwich and ate it. Like, the things that these terrorists are doing with this weapon to make the U.S. government back the fuck off of them is fucking insane. And mind you, because they're stupid, it's not because they're intellects. Their tactic is to try to instill fear, because they don't have the respect and the intellect to back them up. So they're going in full force like a bunch of psycho scary bitches, when really they're scared to get investigated with this weapon, because they know they'll turn into a fucking torso. They can rot there if the U.S. government wants to finally gets access to investigating these terrorists, and of course they know what avenues and what to do to prevent that from happening. But if they do, literally they can make them raw all the way up to their torso, make their arms raw, and have them force them into amputation. And these psychopaths will be nothing but a head and a torso, and will know what their worth is based on how they get around, because of what they can offer people. And then it's like, really, really try to fucking now show us what the fuck you're worth. So, I mean, it's obvious they're scared shitless of being investigated with this weapon. On top of the fact they've obviously made up their own government, and that's how they set themselves up so that they could use the weapon. It's not like it's not like any average person can just fucking go sign up to use this shit, okay? And they don't have, and what all these governments are flexing on these terrorists is, we have a military defense that can literally blow up your fucking entire country, bitch. And so why don't, and basically explaining to them, like, if you're really, why don't you go fucking rule over Egypt, and we'll watch you bitches and your fucking entire country blow up like we did Palestine and any other fucking country. So, and they're making it clear to these terrorists, I mean, obviously Egypt, whoever's actually responsible for Egypt right now, doesn't want to blow up the country, and doesn't want to go, I don't know. I'm going in too far deep into the politics that I don't know about, but and he's laughing, because I just sit here and theorize, like, how, I mean, on a very practical level, like, this isn't rocket science. We all need the same essential, like, things to live: food, water, land, fucking wood, fucking. So, for us to go anywhere. So anyways, but besides that, they're not, for whatever reason, they're not, maybe it's because of that, I don't know. Maybe that's exactly why they don't have hold of Egypt's military. Maybe it's the entire Middle East that is opposed to it, because it'll be a whole world war. I mean, like, we're talking about one of the strongest military defenses in the Middle East. So if none of the Middle Eastern countries and the Arab countries are participating with these terrorist, stupid, psycho Khara organization, then maybe that's why they don't have access to the military. I don't know. Anyways, I'm theorizing. But so on, blah, blah, blah. All the political shit to this means absolutely nothing if I can just make it very clear that these bitches, this is how fucking stupid this sounds to me. Like, okay, the terrorists talking in my head want to alter my reality. They want to, and it seems as though that the U.S. government has actually access to all these people. Look at this. This is where I'm at, okay? That just, they can take a glimpse, see that I'm here, okay? And That way, if they were to take all of these records that they use, so it's not just the U.S. government, so they can say every single one of these individuals was in the same place as Renee. We have her recorded on our records. All these people witnessed Renee, okay, without actually having to pull each and every individual individually and say, hey, did you see her, right? And say, we have access to all these people. They all saw Renee. She was physically there. None of them heard what Renee's hearing in her head. That way the terrorists can't, so going back to that, that way the terrorists can't alter my reality, okay? Without it being obvious that they're doing so. That's why they want to rip their victims away from society. They want to rip them away, put them in, like, traffic them into fucking complete and utter homelessness, chop off their arms and legs, make them so, like, filthy dirty from, like, literally having nothing and living out in the streets so that nobody even looks in their directions. Unfortunately, we're a very disgusting species, honest to God. And we're probably the most inhumane of the other species because we don't need to eat each other to survive. And to watch, like, if you watch animals, they're actually a lot more compassionate to each other than we are as a species. It's not crazy, dude. So to see, like, the government, I have a feeling at this point, because the terrorists talking in my head, they want me away from anywhere where there are lots of people, anywhere where there are cameras, anywhere where there is, like, they want me on Skid Row where traffic's driving by, everyone there is mentally handicapped, on drugs, or a felon. Okay? So that they could scream in my head and sound like traffic passing by. Like, that's how basic this shit is. And I'm getting the picture now, and I'm like, okay, so that if the government were to try and say, okay, it's anybody from Skid Row, these terrorists could knock down the argument and say, that person's a felon, that person's a felon, that person is a drug addict, that person is mentally handicapped. All would destroy their competency or their legitimacy to say, you know, why they didn't come forward. Like, well, if you caught it on the record, why the fuck didn't they come forward to say, you know, so and so said, you know, this or that, right? And so, and then maybe they can say, oh, the U.S. government is playing with. So to have all these people that are all going to school, professionals working, like, on a daily basis, not reporting it, obviously shows that they don't hear it. On top of it, they could, if the government were to have access to the surveillance cameras here at Cal Poly SLOS, assuming they're here, and this is my theory, they could take the surveillance records, they could take the records of the people that were present at the orientation day, make it clear who saw me, make it clear that I was here, that it's not like I'm not in a delusional state, and if I see anything different than what people see, that it's my reality that was altered, not that anybody else's, because it's like now they're taking samples of, like, huge amounts of people, okay, that witnessed me in the auditorium, that were there, heard me speak up, heard me raise my hand when I said, hey, I rode the train here, so on and so forth. So the terrorists talking in my head, it's so fucking obvious, dude. They're getting sentenced to fucking death. I'm done talking. Okay? And it's between getting investigated by this weapon that can take control of your mind, your body, your soul, okay, and turn you into a human fucking robot, or being pricked by a fucking needle and being sentenced to death. I'm pretty sure the fucking scariest, stupidest terrorists will fucking, if God willing, I fucking set the record straight and push these terrorists into their little corners, okay, that they'll turn themselves in. And I'm trying my fucking goddamn hardest to make it so fucking obvious. Dude, this is crazy. How in the fuck? Okay, you know why? You know why? Rita, is it Rita? Are you Egyptian? You're Lebanese. You are beautiful. I saw you at the auditorium and you were talking earlier today with my son. And I was like, she has to be Egyptian because of your accent. And I had to ask. Well, you did a great job. I want to fall. Sorry. I'm Renee.
Nice to meet you. I'm Rita Noor.
Nice to meet you. I hope my son gets a chance to meet you. He's around here somewhere.
Yes. Also, we're gonna be having like more events today, so you're gonna see me more at those events. Tomorrow as well, I'm gonna be speaking.
Oh, you are? Oh,
Yes.
good. Well, you did a great job today.
Thank you so much.
So in case you were nervous, you did a great job.
Thank you so much.
All right, my dear. You too. Bye-bye. So, yeah. Anyways, so like I said, they're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. They're talking in my head. I am not shy. I am not illiterate. I'm not stupid. I mean, I don't know if I have brain damage. I may, but not enough because, and that alone, that by itself would make the terrorists, because my entire family, no history, it would raise suspicion to my records. No family history of mental health disorder. Prior to coming here, no diabetes, no nothing. Because that's the only way the terrorists are allowed to conduct an investigation, is that the bloodline of the families that, or the person's family, I'm assuming, okay, is like 100% clean. So that they can't, they can't say, the terrorists can't say, oh, this person's family in their bloodline, they have schizophrenia, or they have this, or they have that. And that's like to eliminate any way of these terrorists. I would assume it's protocol, because to be behind a mind control, mind reading, telepathy weapon, and then I have cousins that have schizophrenia, and now I'm hearing voices, they could write it off as like it's part of my family history, but nobody, according to the terrorists talking in my head, because they're so fucking stupid, arrogant, ignorant, disgusting garbage. I can't have, or my family bloodline, medical history can't show that we have any type of mental disorder. And being that I'm sitting here screaming, I hear voices in my head. And anyways, going back to that, so about the mental, no, he's playing with my head, so I can't. So I'm like a little, they're playing with my head. Can you tell? I'm stuttering now. So being that I don't come from a family with any mental handicap, it'll bring up suspicion. And then especially if I have that I'm saying schizophrenia, and then further, if they end up giving me brain damage, even more so, because they can't, like I said, I can't have a mental like my brain can't show, they're playing with my head right now, they're rewiring it, can't show signs of a medical, like medically having structurally, they're playing with my head, structurally deficient mind, okay? Like my brain has to be at minimum the average healthy brain, okay? Obviously the capacity of like how intelligent, whatever, that is something else. But it structurally, if too much gray matter, things that look like Alzheimer's, things of that nature, they're going to want to know if these terrorists were responsible for it, because they want to know if these weapons can cause that. And the terrorists want to say it's aging when it's not. It's them. It's these psycho bitches. Can you imagine all the people that end up having Alzheimer's? The terrorists talking in my head and their stupid psycho organization is responsible for all these people having Alzheimer's? Like what in these are major fucking crimes, and they're across the globe, dude. These bitches they're so fucking slaughtered.
Whoever gets money, the person to the left and the person to the
So
right.
I can if they cause me any brain damage. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if they've caused me brain damage, but
Say by
uh,
any error. So
I'm not at the moment. I don't know if it's partly memory loss, like I have memory loss because of them electrocuting my mind literally 24/7, or if it's them just rewiring my mind and just interrupting my thought. And if they could do that without actually causing damage, I have no idea. But my stuttering comes from them manipulating my brain activity. In one way or however they do it, whether it be like a permanent permanent damage that they've done, okay, to rewire the brain, or if it's something they manually constantly do to interrupt my thought. I'm not quite sure. But they're playing with my hand. But they're constantly doing that. I don't, like I was saying, I don't have confidence issues. I'm not insecure in the least bit. I'm the type that even if, God forbid, I did have brain damage, I'm the type that's going to be proactive to figure out how to fix it, how to regain whatever it is that these psychopaths have destroyed. And at the same time, because I want to, I mean, who doesn't? Like, what the fuck? This is so big. I mean, they're playing with my head. This is so important to me is what I'm trying to say. It's not like, I don't even know how to, they're playing with my head. They're playing with my head because they want me to sound dumb. Do you understand me? They're Egyptian American Muslim women terrorists. Now, I've said a lot about what they're doing, but like I said, I'm not insecure in the least bit. I'm not worried about what they'll do because I know they'll get sentenced to death for it. And if I appear that way, it's because they're playing with my head. That's what I'm trying to ultimately say. So the terrorists can shy people away from me. What else? Yeah. So I am here at Cal Poly SLO. There are all these people here. They don't want me getting involved, and I really want to be involved as much as I can. I want to meet people. I want to call my son, see where he's at, and start I want to be involved. I want to be involved. These terrorists don't want me involved with anything at all. So I'm going to let you guys go. I almost want to live stream every second of the day. Dude, I want them sentenced to fucking death so fucking badly. Alright, they're Egyptian American Muslim women. They've been talking in my head and rewiring my mind while I was discussing what they're doing. But I'm here at Cal Poly SLO with my son. Nobody hears these bitches. Their camera right there. Perfect. See? There's a camera right there. If the bitch is talking in my head, want to say there was something to investigate, they could pull the surveillance camera. There are all these people here that are going to be attending, so the stupid bitches know which students. It's all registered. They have access to all the databases. They could just scan through every student's all the students that are registered, find out who was registered to be here at the orientation. All these people are in a database that they can go ahead and find out to see if they hear and see if they're hearing and seeing what I see, assuming these terrorists were also to give me visual hallucinations. So they don't want those bitches to die. Do you hear me? They're Egyptian American Muslim women. They're talking in my head. They need to be sentenced to fucking death. They're sick in the fucking head. I've never heard anything sicker in my fucking life. There's no war, no shit that is sicker than the shit that these bitches are doing. Oh God.